Welcome to this Timely Topics for School Leaders. The focus of this video is on ensuring high-quality plans. This video was produced by the statewide team for school improvement at the Lancaster-Lebanon IU13, a leading education service agency which works in concert with the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Reproduction of this video is not permitted without written consent by IU13. This video has 3 sections. First, how do you know if your plan is high quality? Second, I'll share strategies for reviewing your plan. And last, I'll direct you to some specific resources and next steps. In our personal lives, many of us have experience planning for events. One example includes planning to build a house. This would include blueprints for the house, perhaps some financial plans, maybe some landscaping plans, etc. Some of you may be athletes and you create training plans for events. For example, a runner may create a plan for increasing mileage over the course of their training. They may make a plan for strength training and nutrition and rest. When we create these types of plans in our own life, we work to ensure that our plans are high quality, that they will lead us to the outcome that we desire, whether that be the house of our dreams or our personal best at our event. If we ensure high quality plans for our personal projects, we can do the same for the plans that we have that impact the lives of our students and the healthiness of our community. In fact, a key aspect of ESSA is its commitment to the use of evidence-based approaches and continuous improvement to drive better outcomes for students. Throughout this series, we've focused on creating a plan, and this video will provide strategies for reviewing your plan to ensure it's high quality. Throughout this series of timely topic videos, we've reviewed the timing of key plan activities. Before your plan is submitted, you want to ensure it is a high quality plan. Chances are, if you've been watching these videos, you've been checking for quality along the way. Here's one more opportunity to do so. I've emphasized the importance of a through line. This is a way to ensure that the work you're doing is connected to your vision and to your identified needs. The video is focused on reviewing that through line to ensure alignment between your vision, needs, priority, strategies, plans, and outcomes. Let's start with ensuring high quality plans through using a through line. In each portion of your plan, your intent was to have connections across those portions. I just shared a visual of the through line, and now I'd like to share a document for you to use to ensure alignment throughout your plan. This QR code will take you to a version of that document. This first section is for you to enter your first priority statement and to identify what data points led to this priority. Next, think back to the work you did to determine this priority statement. You identified a student-centered challenge in your data. What was it? A problem of practice is a challenge with instruction or with a system in the school. You identified a problem of practice that is the root cause of the learner-centered challenge. If this problem of practice is addressed, chances are your learner-centered problem will be minimized. Next, you identified an evidence-based strategy that will help you address the identified problem of practice. And you set goals that are measurable and attainable based on that evidence-based strategy. You also need to identify how you're going to spend your CSI funding in a way that is related to your strategy implementation. As you complete this through-line template, you'll begin to see alignment and celebrate, or some misalignment. If there's misalignment, you have an opportunity to update your plan accordingly. This QR code will take you to another version of a through-line reflection worksheet. I'm going to go through an example using this version. Let's take a look at this sample. As I review this through line, we're going to reflect on alignment, and I'm going to ask you to also reflect on alignment and see if you can see where this team may have gone astray. First, we see that the school has identified their challenge. Their challenge is the low portion of students who scored proficient or advanced on their keystone. From there, they identified a priority statement. They're going to use systematic, collaborative planning processes to ensure instruction is coordinated, aligned, and evidence-based in order to improve their instructional practices. Next, they selected an evidence-based strategy. This team selected an early warning system and MTSS. After writing their action steps, which we won't review here, they set goals and targets. You can see here that their goals are based on their 4-year cohort graduation rate, and their quarterly targets are based on the percent of students being on track for graduation in 9th grade. Here's some of the feedback that was provided to them. It was agreed that this is a clear challenge for this team to prioritize. And the priority statement addresses the planning in general, not just in math, and that may be a good thing. The strategy section is where things start to go astray. They wanted to prioritize collaborative planning to ensure high quality instruction. However, they selected the use of an early warning system and MTSS as the strategies. If they follow these strategies, it doesn't help create a system for collaborative planning or improved instructional practices. When setting goals, they've been unrealistic based on their current data and the research around these strategies. When setting their benchmarks, they're not aligned to their strategies, and they represent different cohorts of students other than the annual goal. We would suggest, as I'm sure that you would too, that this team consider a different evidence-based strategy. Consider a strategy that will ensure standards-aligned, evidence-based instructional practices and opportunities for collaborative planning. I'm sure as you reviewed that through line, you would have had similar advice as well. The through line is one way to review a plan for high quality. Another way is to use a rubric. You can find rubrics and guidance for quality plans at each of these QR codes. As you can see, the rubric is in both spreadsheet and PDF format, and on the right is the document that provides guiding questions for each phase of improvement planning, along with expectations for high quality plans. This is a snapshot of the PDF version of the rubric. It's organized by the section of the FRCPP, and it provides clear criteria that each section of the plan needs to meet. There's an area for feedback for someone to provide to the team. Sometimes we're too close to our plans to see areas to revise. I'd like to suggest that you ask someone who wasn't involved in your planning process, perhaps someone outside of your organization, and ask them to review your plan along with the rubric or your through line and then provide you some feedback. Now that you have some tools for reviewing your plan, here are some next steps to consider. First, download one of the through-line documents and a rubric. Then ask 2 to 3 members of your own team or your school improvement facilitator, if you're working with one, to review your plan according to the through-line or the rubric that you selected. Then make appropriate revisions based on their feedback. Then find a trusted colleague who hasn't been involved in writing your plan and ask them to review your plan using either the through-line or one of your rubrics, and make adjustments as necessary. I hope you feel more knowledgeable about reviewing your school improvement plan to ensure that you have a high quality plan to guide your team's work for the upcoming school year. If you'd like to talk to a member of the statewide team about your process, please send us an email at pdecsi@iu13.org.